So if you'd like some thoughts and ideas on how to boost your savings account, then you're in the right place today. Matt here, the Fish and Finance guy, out on a little walk here this morning, and about a month and a half ago, had an issue with the internet, and I had to run down to a local restaurant, had to pick up an internet signal for some work that I needed to do. But while I was there, which was middle of the day, so it was late morning to early afternoon, I did a lot of observing and was just looking around the restaurant, both inside and outside, and it got me thinking. I know many of us enjoy going out to eat, but this was a Tuesday or a Wednesday, so just middle of the week, middle of the day. And there were a lot of people in the restaurant. Now, granted, where I live, there are a lot of retired folks here, and many of the patrons in the restaurant were retired, so all good there. But there were an equal amount of younger, working-age people, and actually quite a few very young people, so whatever, late teens, early 20s, define that however it may be. And it just really got me thinking, in light of a lot of what I look at on a day-to-day basis and the kind of information that I analyze when clients come to me. I look at credit reports, and I look at bank statements, and I look at asset accounts, and one of the things that I think, if you're looking to increase your financial comfort in terms of money that you have set aside and saved, now whether that's simply for a rainy day and a little bit of emergency money, or whether that is money that you're looking to accumulate long term, or maybe mid-term, and let's just say putting some money aside or trying to increase your savings account in the pursuit of purchasing a home at some point, or changing your residential situation, and you may need a security deposit and first month's rent and last month's rent. You really have to take a look at where you are spending your money every day. Now, if you're going to work every day and you are ordering out lunch, I am really going to focus on this, but I do have a lot of thoughts here today. When you look at the price of food in general right now and prepared food, and then you also take into consideration the explosive growth here in the recent past with things like Uber Eats and DoorDash, you are really depriving yourself of money that you could have in the bank, because not only are you paying a premium for the prepared food to begin with, but then many folks today are then paying an additional surcharge in the way of the delivery to them wherever they may be. I was playing with some numbers on a compounding interest rate calculator earlier today. And these details may not be specifically applicable to you, but if you fall into this realm or this category, this is something that you really need to take a look at and give some serious thought to. So let's just say that you go to work every day and you're accustomed to ordering out your lunch. Now, that could be a pretty wide variety on what that actual cost is. You could be getting a little bagel sandwich somewhere for a couple of dollars, or you could be ordering a full-on type of a meal from a restaurant. So, just whatever, a burger, fries, and a drink, whatever that may be. So I went with $12. That may be a little high, that may be a little low. But let's just say that you are in the habit of ordering yourself lunch every day while you're at work. And you're spending on average $12 a day to do that. Well, if you were to look at ways to not have to do that and bring your own food from home to eat at the office or wherever you are, the long-term compounding effect of that money being saved truly ends up being remarkable. Without trying to be too aggressive or way over the top here, let's just say you're used to doing that throughout the course of a given week. Well, if you were to scale back and let's say one day a week, you go ahead and order out, treat yourself, have somebody make the food, deliver it. I mean, you could always go pick it up and save the delivery fee and the DoorDash or the Uber Eats fee. But let's just say we scale that back down to one day a week. And 4 days a week, you bring your own lunch with you. Now, whether that's leftovers from any food that you may have had at home for dinner, a given night or two before, or whether you plan ahead a little bit. I mean, even if you just look at a convenience store, and I call it a Circle K, a 7-Eleven, a Wawa, whatever, you go in there and you look at the fact that to get a medium to full size just hoagie or a sandwich, you're going to be dropping somewhere between $5 and $10 for that. Well, if you planned ahead a little bit and picked up the cold cuts that you want, that you enjoy, and made your sandwich at home and took it with you, or buy sub rolls, make your hoagie at home and take it with you, in terms of what it's going to cost you to buy the cold cuts and the items needed to make your own sandwich or your own hoagie is going to be a fraction of what you're paying to get that pre-made for you from wherever you're ordering. So if we just ran with an example of, again, let's say $12 a day and 4 days a week, you eliminate that. And instead of spending that money on lunch, you move that over into a savings account. So $48 a week. Now, if you've got an online virtual-based savings account, so something like a Capital One or a Discover, I know there's many of them out there. But right now, here we are in September of 2025, online virtual savings accounts typically going to be paying somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 to 4.5%. So if you were to take $12 a day, move it to your savings account, so $48 a week, and you put that into a savings account earning 4% interest, over the course of 5 years, that is going to add up to just under $14,000. Now, I don't know where you live, where you may be, or why you may be watching this, but I do know that in many areas around the country, you can purchase a home for $150,000, $200,000, $250,000, possibly less in some areas. And when you look at the fact that there are loan programs out there where you can purchase a home with a down payment as little as 3% or 3.5% or maybe 5% in certain situations. If you look at a $200,000 home and you need a 5% down payment, well, that's $10,000. So if you cut out the lunch and the deliveries and the essential waste of that money, when there are other ways to feed yourself at lunchtime during your work week, within a couple of years, you could easily have enough money set aside to move into purchasing a home. And I also want to touch base on beverages. What I witness on a daily basis, stopping into the 7-Eleven or a Circle K or a Wawa or whatever a convenience store may be that is in your immediate area, I have truly seen people with 3 or 4 or 5 bottles of some kind of a drink on the counter in a checkout line in front of me, whether that is bottled water, and I'll touch more on bottled water, or Gatorade, or coconut water, or whatever it may be that somebody is purchasing. If you ever really stop and think about it and look at what you are paying to walk into a convenience store and grab a 16 or a 20 or a 24 ounce bottle of water, it is absolutely insane and ridiculous that anybody is doing this. You're talking about what is the most plentiful resource on the planet, and we all have water available to us. Then when you throw in the advent of all the different containers and bottle holders and beverage holders and insulated things and caps and lids and straws and spill proof, we have more options available to us today, right now, here in 2025, than we ever have. If you go back 25, 30, 35 years and you were out on a hike in the woods somewhere, you pretty much had a canteen, and that was reusable. Well, now we have things that are much sportier, much sexier, a whole lot more fun. There is no reason that you or anybody should be buying bottled water at a convenience store. You're talking about $2 to $3, if not more, per bottle of beverage. So I know you can't make Gatorade at home, let's say, or Powerade at home. Well, if you buy that by the case or in bulk at a Sam's Club or a Costco or a BJ's, or even if you just bought it by the case at your local grocery store, it is a fraction of the price that you're going to pay buying it individual bottle by individual bottle in a convenience store. Remember that a convenience store has its name because it is supposed to be convenient, quicker in and quicker out than going into a large store, but with a little bit of planning and a little bit of looking forward to lay out your week or lay out your month. Take the time, make the trip. If you're a Gatorade person at lunch, go grab yourself a case of Gatorade at Sam's Club for 18 or 20 bucks. You've got your drinks for the month. Buying that day by day in a convenience store, you're going to burn through that much money literally in a week. If you are focused on trying to improve your savings account balance, and let's just say your cash flow every week or every month, really put in the time and the effort. And we're not talking about a lot here, but sit down, pencil things out, look at what you really need. What are more cost-effective ways to go about obtaining that product? I live in an area where, the primary grocery store around here is Publix. And being from the Northeast originally many years ago, I come from the land of cheesesteaks and hoagies and grinders and pizza. And while a lot of things down here in this local market are not quite ever going to be identical to what I'm used to from way back up in the Northeast many years ago, Publix makes a great hoagie. There's no doubt about it. But you can do that at home. It takes a little bit of effort, and you can build it exactly the way you want it without paying that premium. I mean, I know that a full 12-inch sub at Publix is typically going to be in the $8.99 to $10.99 range, depending on the products and what you order. Well, if you can buy everything you need for 20 or 25 bucks to get you through a week's worth of hoagies or sandwiches, you're literally talking about spending as much for the week as you might end up spending in probably 2 days to have that pre-made and then available to be delivered to you, or if you're going to pick it up, or however you would handle that. But seriously, put pencil to paper. In my course, I spend a good bit of time talking about budgeting and tracking your spending. If there's something in your life that you care about, you typically are going to pay attention to it, you're going to track it, you're going to monitor it. I talk about that a little more in depth in one of my other videos here recently, but I'm bringing it up again because it doesn't take but truly a couple of minutes to sit down, look over your most recent bank statement or two, pull out your calculator, even just use the one on your phone because you've got that readily available to you, and just start typing in the numbers of where your money is going on things that could be avoided with an ounce of planning and strategizing going into a given week or a given month. I think if you sit down and really look at your numbers, look at your spending, look at the patterns, and look at the habits, when you end up totaling all that up, I think you are going to be very surprised at the number that you come up with. Now, if you are already being aware and conscientious about something like this, so let's say you are planning your own meals or taking leftovers or making your own lunch to take to the office, and you don't have that to cut out or eliminate, what you can do if you are looking to, again, increase the balance in your savings account and put a focus on that, remember to pay yourself first. So often, people go through life where they get up, they go to work, they put in their time, they do their thing, and then they get paid at the end of the week. And what happens? The money comes in and it immediately starts getting pushed out to pay bills and take care of obligations that you have. And then people tend to live for themselves on what's left. And oftentimes, there isn't very much left. And if you're thinking that, okay, I'm going to pay all my bills, I'm going to take care of my obligations, I'm going to do what I need to do, and then at the end of the week, I'm going to go ahead and take whatever's left and put it into my savings account, you're probably going to find in most instances that there's not really anything left to put into savings. You tend to spend what is available. And even if you know in the back of your mind, okay, coming up on the end of the week and I've still got whatever, $100 or $150 left over from my last paycheck, I'll just put that in. You know that that's there and you know it's available. So you may be inclined to stop and make a purchase on something that if you had already dedicated putting that money into a savings account, you would know that it's not there tied to your debit card and that purchase may not be made. So remember, pay yourself first. Once you get used to doing this, you will find that you adapt and it becomes normal. You may be looking at your numbers right now thinking to yourself, well, I spend everything I make and I don't have any money that I could put into savings. Well, if you pay yourself first, and you could start, it could be a nominal amount. I mean, I don't know what income level you may be earning right now. I don't know what your expenses are because I'm talking to you one way through this video right now. So I don't know anything about your particular circumstances, but if you find that you set aside even just a little bit, call that 20 or 25 or $50 per pay period, you will figure out a way to make the rest of it work. But at least that money has been set aside and put someplace for you instead of for somebody else. And a final thought that I have on water, because I know my wife and I have been doing this since 2004. Yes, they are not what I would call cheap. I don't like that word anyway. But for a reasonable investment, you can get yourself a reverse osmosis system for under your kitchen sink. This is going to give you access to wonderfully pure water that tastes fantastic, regardless of what your incoming water supply looks like. So whether you are on a well system or whether you are on some sort of public or city water, if you make the small investment of, and depending on the company, depending on the brand, I mean, you're probably talking $1,500, maybe $1,200 to $2,500 to have a system right under your sink that gives you fantastically pure water for personal consumption, and in many instances will also feed the water and the ice maker line for your refrigerator. Again, yes, that is a little bit of an investment, but if you're buying bottled water on a regular basis, start adding up what that looks like, especially if you drink a lot of water. We drink a lot of water in our household, and we have dishwasher safe, reusable bottles that we keep in the refrigerator. So unless we are having some sort of a party or a get together, we are never buying bottled water. And there's also the component about chemicals in the plastic leaching into the water. It's not something I ever worry about because it's not what we do. We have, again, dishwasher safe, chemical free, reusable bottles. And then just for our daily cups and drinking around the house and doing whatever we do, we have wonderfully clean and very tasty water through that reverse osmosis system. To my understanding, I'm not a water expert here, but I believe the only level of water that is cleaner or purer than that is when you get into like distillation and having water that's distilled. But the membranes and the filters and everything that goes into a reverse osmosis system essentially gives you water that is basically as clean and pure as even what you can purchase. And just a random thought on that note, I did have a brief period of time many, many years ago where I was introduced to a company. I learned some things through them, and they were like a water treatment type of a company providing home solutions for personal water consumption. If you are going to continue purchasing bottled water for yourself, please make it a point to buy purified or distilled and not just the natural spring water. This was many years ago. I don't know if things have changed. I don't want to talk off topic on something that I am not skilled or knowledgeable in, but the bacteria and things that I saw firsthand with water testing that was inside of sealed spring water for purchase bottles was truly disgusting and nauseating. So it's just something to be aware of. But again, purchasing bottled water is arguably one of the biggest wastes of money that anybody can do when there are other options available to take care of that need and that product for yourself. I'll leave the water alone at this point. Back to the regularly scheduled programming. If you have any questions about money or debt management or saving strategies or getting out of debt, if you are striving to conquer some debt that you may have, feel free to comment below, shoot me a message. I'm getting ready to open up one-on-one consulting through my website, which is livebetterfinancially101.com. And for simplicity, I have a forwarding website, which is very simply lbf101.com. If you're interested in other money management tips and other things that you may need moving forward in life, especially if you are a young adult at this point in time, please go check out my course. There is a ton of information in there that I feel would truly and genuinely benefit you from the minute that you start introducing yourself to this information on a going forward basis for the rest of your life. But I am getting ready to open up one-on-one consulting for unique or individual circumstances or scenarios that you may just want some one-on-one guidance to help you get from point A to point B with whatever that may be that you are trying to accomplish. Thanks for tuning in. If this is your first time to my channel, thanks for stopping by. If you've been here before and this is a repeat visit, thanks for coming back. I do appreciate it. If you know anyone that would be interested in hearing what I had to say today or could benefit from the content within my online course, feel free to share this video with them or pass it along. I'll look forward to seeing you in future videos. This is Matt, the Fish and Finance Guy. I'm checking out for now. Thanks again for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next video. And a final thought here on purchasing a home and down payment levels and saving money to be in a position to do that. Thinking back to the reference that I made earlier, that if you cut out $48 a week, started saving that money, that in 5 years you'd have almost $14,000 in a savings account, and that is on the assumption that you start with $0 from day one. Yes, in many areas, most areas throughout the country, there are down payment assistance programs in the market. If you are in a position to have your own funds available and not be in need of down payment assistance, you are typically going to find that your details in terms of your financing are more favorable. And there are a lot of eligibility requirements in regard to down payment assistance. Further, funds in a lot of these programs are not always available on an ongoing basis. Some cities or towns or programs have an ongoing supply of down payment assistance for a home purchase, but oftentimes these programs rely on dollars coming in from their city or their county or their state, and there is an annual amount provided, and it oftentimes gets exhausted very quickly. Additionally, with that eligibility component, there are things that may or may not work for you if you are seeking down payment assistance, and oftentimes these programs come with higher terms on the mortgage itself. Some of these programs, the funds are not forgivable. So if you refinance or sell your home, in many instances, the money needs to be paid back. Sometimes it's forgivable over a period of time. Some of these programs, there's a large creature just making a disturbance in the water over there. Some of the programs come with payments tied to the funding that you received. In most instances, the money you receive is a second lien against your home. So there are a lot of things to be aware of. There really is not any simply free money out there. There is always a cost in some way, shape, or form. So if you could make a little lifestyle change, cut out some overpriced lunches 3 or 4 days a week, start putting that money to work for you and setting that aside for some bigger goals and plans going forward in your life, would it be worth it to be able to pursue financing for a home purchase and invest in yourself simply for a little bit of effort today to plan ahead for your lunches throughout the week and take action steps that are going to help you long term instead of hurt you? And only you can answer that question. I'm done now. We'll see you next time.
Well, hey there, if you're still watching this, I'd like to thank you for tuning in, watching this video, and also for tuning into my channel. Whether it be for yourself or anyone that you may know, feel free to share this video. And if you'd like to see future content, go ahead and subscribe. If there's anything that I can do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out. I built out my course with the heartfelt passion of wanting to enable folks to get started on a better foot in life regarding finances and not incur some of the problems I have witnessed throughout the course of my career that has held them back from taking next steps when they were ready to in their life journey. I thank you again for watching. If there's ever anything I can do for you, I'll look forward to hearing from you. Take care.